Hello and welcome to Beyond Studio J. I'm your host Josh, and today I have with me our beautiful guest Jan. Hi Jan.
Hi.
So I met Jan because she's actually in my Bollywood seniors dance class, and I've always been struck by what a positive attitude you have towards life, Jan. You always see like the solutions in circumstances, and once I got to know you a bit better, I was actually quite taken aback by your life journey.
Mhm.
So I'll just give you all a quick backdrop. So Jan, used to be married, but then she actually went through a very painful 9-year process of divorce. And she has 3 children, 2 boys and a girl, and she's actually not in touch with her 2 sons and hasn't been in touch for about 20 years. I mean, that all sounds really traumatic, but I just think, Jan, you don't walk around like you have a chip on your shoulder. How do you do that?
Well, I have spent a lot of time really coming to terms with that. It doesn't just disappear.
Yeah.
I recognise that the process caused a lot of pain, a lot of grief for both me and my children, and also, obviously, my ex-partner. But I knew that I would have to take time. I worked through the 9 years. It was a very big learning process for me. I learned a lot about myself, and I grew a lot in the process. But by the end of that time, I realised that I couldn't just keep going on, going to work, looking after my children, doing all that I would need to take time. And so I just stopped everything.
What do you mean by you stopped everything? You stopped working?
I put my work on hold. I took 12 months leave. Of course, I had my children with me. And I rented my house. I moved in with a friend, and I knew that I would be hit by a period of depression. I knew that once everything stops, you cope while things are coping.
Yeah.
But when everything stops and you haven't got life to keep you going, that you have to face what you have to face.
Yeah.
And
right. So can I just ask you, do you mean, were you already experiencing depression, or you weren't, but you knew it was coming?
No, I was in survival mode.
Yeah.
I knew that if I took time, that would be part of the process. And so I accepted that.
Wow.
And let that happen, let the feelings that I was feeling sort of come to the fore, and allowed myself time to process that. I created a space to do that.
Yeah. Wow. So, but Jan, were your 3 kids with you when you went through that?
Yes. Yes. I was seeing a counsellor. It was very difficult. Yeah, my eldest son had just hit a crisis, and he had sort of disappeared at that stage. So I really only had 2 of my children with me. My youngest son was visiting his father, but by this stage, my daughter, because she had made a decision to live with me, her father had renounced her or whatever.
Right.
So, but I had 2 of my children still with me.
Wow. Did you have
but
a lot of support?
Yes, I had some support. Yeah, I mean, it took a while to sort of pick up the pieces. I did have some friends around me, but I knew that this was an internal process.
Yeah. Wow. So when you say, I'm so curious about this acceptance of, you're going to have a down period, and you didn't fight it. You just accepted it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, can you tell me a little bit more about this acceptance? Because how long would the depression, like, it's coming, but how long would it stay for? How did you see it playing out?
I guess actually, when I come to think of it, my children were spending a little bit more time away from me, so I had more personal space.
Yeah.
When I was looking at when I allowed the depression to be, I wrote my thoughts, my feelings at the time.
Yeah.
Like, not necessarily what was happening physically around me, but the feelings that were coming up, and use that as a means of actually processing. So acknowledging the thoughts, acknowledging the feelings, and not trying to push them away, but not trying to sink and be completely indulgent in the feelings.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I was also doing, at that stage, I was still doing a reasonable amount of yoga, and I had already started a daily meditation practice of my own. So that I was using that as well.
Yeah. So when did you come to meditation? Was it during those 9 years, or?
Yes, I was already attending a yoga studio reasonably frequently during those 9 years.
Yeah.
I had done a couple of meditation technique, a series of 10 different types of meditation, like that sort of thing. And therefore just decided, okay, I am going to just do my own meditation in my own space, in my own way, and learn myself how to do that. Yeah.
Wow, you sound like you're a very self-reliant person. That's what I'm getting from you, actually.
I think that was thrust on me at that time. I think that prior to that, I'd spent my life doing what other people had wanted to do, or wanted me to do.
Yeah, right.
And I think, like, once I had a realization of, no, this is me, I had to work out who was that, and I had to use my own resources.
Yeah, right.
For that.
Oh my God, Jen, that's amazing. So actually, this whole crisis set you off on a process of self-investigation in a way.
Oh, definitely. I in those 9 years, I probably grew 10 times what I had actually grown in the time beforehand. Everything that happened, it was a horrible time.
Yeah.
But I even knew while I was in the process that this is a process. I'm learning. I'm learning things, and I can only get through this by learning.
Wow.
I was really lucky in that fell into place for me really good professionals. I had a really good counsellor at the time. And I'm just trying to remember, there were other professionals that sort of appeared. When I needed help with different things. And I was not in a financial position to actually just go out and see. Things did just happen. Once I started to take responsibility for myself, things happened.
So, Jan, I'd like to ask you about another really interesting time in your life. So you've told me that, you had this, one day your body just stopped working.
Yes. Yeah, literally.
And the time that we've just talked about, your 9 years of divorce and then coping with depression, how much after was this?
Let me see. It was probably not that long after. I sort of, I'm sort of thinking there were 9 years, probably maybe 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah. Time, has blurred a little bit, so I'm not sure. I mean, it wasn't immediately.
Yeah.
I had been doing quite a lot of yoga, and certain meditation. And it was the end of the year. I'm a teacher, and so it was in school holidays, sort of December. And I got up one morning and I went to do a little bit of yoga, and I realised, oh, my body actually isn't working. It's not moving. And
what do you mean? The like joint pain or
no, it was more in my muscles.
Like they were like frozen?
Yeah, it was like, or it could have been in my mind. I don't really know. Like it was like normal movement. It was a conscious effort.
Yeah.
And initially, like it wasn't too bad. And I just thought, oh, it'll be okay tomorrow.
Yeah.
But it actually started to get worse. And because it was school holidays, I thought, okay, well, I'll just take it easy and it'll be right, by the time I need to start back at work again. And it sort of stayed at a level, just walking, standing and sitting I had to think about it. And I actually became aware that I was like, I remember going with my parents to a coffee shop and looking around, and there were quite a lot of elderly people in the coffee shop, and thinking, oh my goodness, I am moving like these people. So I was sort of moving like a 90-year-old. I wasn't, like everything was a conscious effort. I actually had committed to quite a lot of work. I had 4 classes of VCE art. Yeah. And once you sort of make that commitment, I was really reluctant to just sort of say, oh, I'm sorry, I can't continue, because it's the nature of the subject and the nature of the work. So I thought, okay, I'll just keep going, which I did. I had the feeling all the time that this was not, I know people around me thought that this was something really.
Yeah, you told me that a lot of people thought it was like a terminal illness.
Yes, yeah, they did. I didn't go and seek any medical attention until quite late, because I actually felt that unless they knew what they were looking for, I could be doing a whole lot of tests for nothing, and I didn't want to go through this process. And I also knew that this wasn't going to last forever. For whatever it was, I just needed to keep doing what I was doing. I could not, I normally sit in a lotus pose for meditation. I couldn't do that. But I just decided, okay, I'm going to sit on my bed and I will sit as close, whatever the approximate is, and just continued on with what I would normally do.
But can I just go back? So it's so big, Jan. Like there's something that's happening. You don't know what it is. People think it's a terminal illness, but you just have this knowing, you have this trust in your body that whatever it is it's going to go away. How do you have that knowing? I
don't know.
Aren't you freaking out?
I don't know how I had that knowing. I just did. I really don't know. I just had a sense this will pass. This is just part of a process.
Yeah.
And the really weird thing, I'm not my body isn't a very flexible body. I have more strength than flexibility.
Okay.
And the really weird thing was that despite the fact that I didn't, I was doing other physical things, I had been doing, I can't remember, other dance things and things like that.
Yeah, right.
And I suddenly realised, this is, 12 months on, my body was actually more flexible at the end of this, despite the fact I was doing nothing much at all physically than it was at the beginning.
Wow.
So something was happening in my body. I also, probably about 7 months in, I took up Tai Chi, because I looked and I saw all these older people in the gardens doing Tai Chi. And I thought, well,
I can do Tai Chi.
Because I was really looking around for something physical to do.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I did take up Tai Chi, and I did it for a series which was it's called 21.
Okay.
I don't know whether that means anything to anybody else, but it was called 21, and it took about 12 months to go through the whole series.
Oh.
And that was really interesting because it actually was about energy, and you know, like, and it probably was the right thing to do at that particular time. And I wasn't like, I knew my body was limited, so there was no ego there. I wasn't thinking, oh, you know, I have to do this properly or anything. I was now thinking, oh, I'll just do this how I can do it. That's all I need to do. So that was also a bit of a shift, to change.
Yeah. So, okay. So what I'm really curious about now is, I want to know your thoughts. Like, what I want to know is, for example, if I'm experiencing depression, for example, I could be thinking about the things I'm depressed about, or I could be soothing myself and being like, it's okay, just having a bad day, no big deal, it's okay. So, and when your body is not working, you could be freaking out or whatever, you could just be like, it's okay. How do you think, Jan?
Yeah, actually, if I'm feeling, there's a couple of things that I do. If I'm feeling, we'll say, depressed or sinking into a low thing, first of all, I don't tend to sort of, I don't try and push it away too much. I mean, if the time's inconvenient, the time's inconvenient. But,
yeah, right.
But as a general, at some point, I will actually think, okay, I have to look at this. What is the source? Where does it come from? Because I know it won't come from something that's just happened now. I mean, that would be the trigger. That would be the trigger. But what is it triggering?
Yeah.
So I will try and go back into what that might be that it's triggering. So I'll go through that process. I won't tell it to just go away. Yeah. But the other thing that I will do, because what often happens to me is that I might rouse in the middle of the night and I might get this feeling, I can't quite describe it. Sometimes it's sort of a physical illness feeling, but it'll be a negativity, you know, like, and
even now.
Yeah. And what I will do is just bring either love or light or something through my body. I just consciously am thinking that, so that I'm not, particularly if it's in the middle of the night, because I don't want to, that's not a time to go and investigate what that is.
Yeah, you're just going to be with yourself.
Yeah. You know, like, yeah. So, you know, like, so if in that situation, I would just bring the energy through, the positive energy through, so that it just calms my system. And but but usually if that starts to happen, I know, and sometimes I will go to a practitioner and sort of ask.
You've told me about a couple of really great practitioners. So, you know, when you said you met some really cool professional people, you did mention that, for example, even if you went to a physio or something, for example, you kind of go to someone who's a little bit more of an energy healer.
Yes. I mean, people that I have gone to usually have a range of modalities that they work with, and very often they'll just work with what they feel is the most appropriate for whatever it is. And I mean, I do this even if I have something physical. Like if there's, if I know that, you know, if there's something in my body that's feeling uncomfortable, it won't just be my body. There will be something underneath that I need to look at, because I know that we hold our lives in our body and our emotions and all of that. So our bodies are really good teachers. They're good triggers for, you know, like, this is something you need to look at now.
Oh, Jan, I could cry. I'm just, So, Jan, I have a bit of a controversial question for you. So, I'm just wondering, looking at gender roles, being a mother, and this really out of the box situation you have happening with your children, do you ever feel judged?
Initially, yes and no. Initially, if I was in a social situation where, somebody asks, do you have children, blah, blah, blah. And, I don't want to deny the fact that I have two sons that are not part of my lives and haven't been for a long time. I want to acknowledge that. But, yes, I think that's that's where I have felt not so much judged. People don't know how to handle that. If I say, yes, I have a daughter and I have two sons, but I haven't seen my sons for many years, people, feel uncomfortable about that. They really don't know how to deal with that. And I think, I'm sure there may or may not be judgment in relation to that. But I think, well, if you know me, if you know who I am, I know who I am, I guess, is what I'm saying. I know who I am.
Yeah.
And how you see it is how you see it. It's not how I am.
Oh, my God.
Yes. Yeah. Initially those situations were quite painful. Things like birthdays and anniversaries and, I'm of an age where my friends' children are getting married, all of those things. I think a lot of my current friends forget that I ever had any other children, but they are often quite painful. Yeah.
Okay. Well, your exuberance for life, your conscious, active decision to be exuberant and to really live so fully and to keep exploring is extraordinary. It is so inspiring, Jan, really. I can't tell you how much you have touched my life, and I'm sure people are going to feel the same way.
Thank you.
It's the truth. So on an ending note, I'm wondering, would you like to just do like a quick recap of the basic processes you have in life? Because it's obviously this very conscious effort that you put in that has made you who you are.
Do you mean things like,
meditation?
Meditation. I read, but I don't just read. I read and act on what I read.
Yes, you did mention that you've been really lucky to have actually just landed upon some really great books that I guess are about self-exploration.
Yes. And of course, they're all the normal things. Physically, being active, being involved, working. I learn so much from other people. I still work with children. I learn so much from them, and I see reflections from them as well. And so that then challenges me and helps me move. So, it's interacting with the world, I guess.
Interacting with the world.
Yes.
Oh, Jan, thank you. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
Oh, my God. Oh, well, thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm sure, I hope you loved this interview as much as I did. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.